what exactly is wrong with July foals? So I said a couple of times recently that this really wants to be the end of breeding season because we're now end of June, and so any mares getting in foal now, mares are pregnant for about 11 months, and so we'll be looking at end of May foals if they were pregnant like right now. A lot of them go over that 11-month mark as well, into the like 350 days, some of our mares. So we'll be looking at early June foals possibly already. And if we don't catch on the next cycle, whenever that is, Belle over there, don't know when she's going to come into season. Old Ginny, who's been covered now by Patrick, probably like this minute, literally. If she doesn't catch this time and we leave her for another cycle in 3 weeks time, we're looking at like mid-July. We're getting close to having July foals. We don't really want July foals, Harley, but why do we not want July foals? So there's a foaling season for a reason, and like breeders like us kind of replicate nature to a certain extent in that we would normally foal in springtime. And this is because this is when the grass is growing, the weather's improving. So as the foal is growing and the mare is nursing it, she's nursing it while she's on good grass. While the weather's better, she's not trying to nurse a growing foal in a winter situation, which is what we had with Edie when she foaled autumn last year, because that was in October, because that was an unintentional one. So she foaled autumn in October, and then she had like a 3-month-old foal in like January when there's no grass, the weather's horrendous, and a 3-month-old foal takes a lot out of a mare, more so than pregnancy does. So pregnancy, yes, it takes a bit out of a mare, but not really a lot, especially not until the last trimester. They don't need a whole lot extra at that point, or at least ours don't. So really, it's nursing that foal that really takes it out of them and drags them down, particularly as the foal grows. And there's another factor for a lot of breeders. It doesn't really affect us so much because we don't show, but if you're a showing breeder, then your foals will stand at an advantage if they're born earlier in the year, because a lot of the showing classes for youngsters are based on age. So you'll get a yearling class, 2-year-old class, 3-year-old class, and if your foal is born earlier in the year, it will just look a lot more finished, a lot more developed compared to other ponies from that same year group if they were born a lot later. Like, for example, our Autumn, born in October, she's classed as a yearling, but she's only, 8 months old. So if we were to show her against other yearlings, which might have been born in April of that year, who are already over 12 months old, like more like 15 months old, she's at a disadvantage, isn't she? So it doesn't really worry us because we don't show, although we might be looking to sell to showing home. So probably really should take that into account. But it's really for us practicality. First year we got Harley in 2024. We didn't get him until the August, and we didn't want to waste a year and not run him with any mares until the following year. So we ran him with 2 mares in August. That was Andy and Letty, and they foaled their foals, Nix and Finn, the following July. And it's fine. It was fine. As you can see, Nix and Finn are fine. Andy and Letty are fine. But we weaned in January because the mares were being dragged down. It took a lot off the mares. They were both rugged and fed, and we want to be aiming for foals in March, April, May, June. I think I said March, April, May. I think we're looking more at April, May, June. No, Andy's foal is due in March. We've got the first one due at the end of March, but if she goes over, it could run into early April. And, you know, the weather can be horrendous at that time of year, so we might be regretting it when we get to March and it's snowing. Or it could be really sunny. You just don't know. Storm foaled in May and had to foal inside because the weather was so bad. So you just don't know. It's not the end of the world. Autumn wasn't the end of the world. We managed an October foal. It wasn't the end of the world, but it wasn't easy and it isn't the ideal. It's really kind of, for practical purposes, based on the weather, the conditions, you want a spring birth, as like nature does. That's why you see everything born in springtime, because it's just the best time to have youngsters on the ground. Before I leave the hanky-panky pasture, I'll just confirm for you that our stallion Harley here does not have any evidence of having been on the mare. Belle over here, who does have orange paint on her bum, therefore, if he had been on, he would have orange paint on him. In theory, I can't see how he would manage to do it without getting orange paint on him, but he is our resident ninja, so who actually knows? There was apparently a fair bit of whinnying coming from this field last night, by all reports, so I don't think nothing was going on, but I have no evidence of anything today, and this is what they looked like when I checked them on the camera. So, as usual with Harley, we don't know what's going on. So on day 15 in the hanky-panky pasture, Harley is ready for a bit of action. He's ready for the hanky-panky. He's like slonging away over here, but Belle doesn't seem particularly interested.